Hello everyone, I am back at Belgatos Park exploring nature again in mid-May. As I head up from the play structures and the park, the first blooming plant I see is the California native wild rose, blooming right now right on the edge of the trail. Next, as I start to walk up the trail and I cross the bridge at the top, I see this massive field of white blooming flowers. Here's a close-up of the flower, and this is the poison hemlock that has grown and taken over this whole space. It is an invasive plant not native to California. And speaking of invasive plants, here's another one. The flower is really attractive, this yellow flower, but it is called a broom, and it also takes over our wild spaces and crowds out our native plants. As we walk up the trail into the wooded area, we see this one, which is called the native morning glory, and it climbs all over different plants and rambles about. Also growing nearby is this flowering plant. It is called blue witch, and you'll often see this one intermingling with the gray California sagebrush, as shown here, and also the monkey flower. Here's a close-up picture of the blue witch flower. This time of year, I also notice a lot of elderberry trees. These form a large shrub or small tree, blooming with these big, bold yellow flowers, and then later in the season, they will produce berries that are extremely attractive to birds. Here also, the buckeye stands out. I showed you the leaves leafing out earlier this year, and now we see the full trees are in bloom. This is what the flower stalks look like just as they're starting to bloom. And then one by one, the flowers open. They have a very, very sweet smell. To me, it smells like grape bubble gum. And I noticed this one chunk of leaves extremely eaten up, and I'm wondering what insect is after these leaves, whether it's a beneficial or harmful insect. I don't see any signs of actual insects. Here I am looking down the watershed at the elderberries and buckeye trees, panning toward our views of the city below. Up at the top of the hill, where the resting bench is and the view, is a very large buckeye, and the fragrance here is quite overpowering when it's in bloom. As I hike up to the top of the trail on the Vista Loop, I notice that the buckeyes up here are already turning brown and starting to lose their leaves. They usually do this during the summer, but this is mid-May, so it's an incredibly hot year and they're losing their leaves early. Here, right at the location where the Vista Loop starts to angle downward toward Blossom Hill Road, we see lots of sticky monkey flower. It is indeed very sticky. The flowers are also very attractive to hummingbirds. As I was exploring this area, I noticed here in many of the monkey flowers these sheet webs that are being developed by spiders living in these plants. So here is a close-up of one of the sheet webs. Here's a picture of one of the sheet webs. The next interesting plant that I notice is this one, called the chaparral clematis, and it is rambling all over the poison oak plants, right around the area where the bench is at the top of the hike. These are actually its seed pods. They look like Dr. Seuss hairdos. And here's a close-up of the poison oak. You can see that poison oak also blooms, providing great habitat for birds during this time of year and into the fall. This plant is called the golden yarrow, and you will find it in the sunny areas near the top of the Vista Loop. This is a great plant to attract butterflies during this time of late spring. Thanks again for joining this May nature exploration at Belgatos Park. See you next time, and enjoy some time out on the trail if you can.